This podcast is a Faith 52 production. All rights reserved 2024. Disclaimer: as a life coach, I don't provide psychological or medical assistance. For such issues, please consult a qualified professional. Hi, welcome to So Basic with a Little Extra. If we haven't met yet or you're tuning in for the first time, my name is Anna Zubiri, and my mission for this podcast is to share a basic story to give you a little extra inspiration, a little extra encouragement, or an extra laugh. Examine me, God, and know my heart. Test me and know my thoughts. See if there's in me anything hurtful and lead me along the eternal way. Psalm 139, 23 and 24. That is one of the most powerful and might to go verses. I kind of have it on repeat because God knows I struggle with my thoughts. If you have been tracking with me, we're on the last episode dedicated to the mind as we explore some simple, or what I like to call basic ways to keep ourselves healthy in mind, body, and spirit. If you're new here, I invite you to go back to episode 73, where I tell you my so basic story of how I was recently diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. And because of that, I decided to make some lifestyle changes. Nothing new, right? Well, the thing is that I have tried it all before, and there have been times when I've experienced positive changes, but they have not been sustainable. I had never been more intentional about getting healthier than now. And yes, I guess you can tell that I am doing it out of fear because of my recent diagnosis. But yeah, that was a big wake up call. I started this implementation on December 5th, and trying these tiny changes have led me to a positive and bigger results. The thing is that it's not about losing weight or eating right, where I thought it was all about that. It's about the whole thing. Life. What kind of life do I want to live? What kind of life do I get to live? It's about making myself responsible for the outcome of my daily decisions. Maybe it's because I have a birthday coming up. By the way, I will post my wish list on my Facebook page just in case you're interested in blessing me. Yeah, birthdays are kind of a big deal around here. Seriously, I will be turning 49 at the end of March. 49! That's a lot of years. I called a friend last week because it was his birthday. We know each other since we were 12. Between jokes, we talk about how we both had recently shocking diagnoses. And it was not just shocking, but sad. We talk about how we never thought about our health before and how we never really thought about being 49. So yeah, do we supposed to do with what are we supposed to do with what we have? Well, I choose to enjoy the rest of my life. It's not easy. Making healthy choices in a world that is full of unhealthy ones, it's so hard. But if your faith is placed in Jesus Christ, this is nothing new for you, right? Anywho, I really want to share what is working for me because I love you and I care. And because sharing is caring. So here I am, sharing my so basic story to hopefully inspire you and encourage you at least to get a checkup. Make sure all is good inside you, in mind, in body, and spirit. So here is how I started, a little exercise. As I began to even think about making changes in my life, I made a note of what I've done in the past and why was that not worked for me. When did it stop working and how? The first thing I found is by asking these questions and answering them is that I did it on my own. Yeah, big mistake. Huge. This time around, I have a group of people that I trust and is pushing me, directing me, and just cheering me on. So, yes, don't try to do it all alone. The next big thing was my expectations for a quick change. I gave up too fast. I have days where the thoughts crept in, but that is why you need someone to go alongside to help you bring back hope and keep your eyes on the goal. I don't mean to be extra, but I am extra confident that things are changing inside my body right now, slowly but surely. Please keep me in your prayers because during these 90 days, I have to demonstrate to my doctor, to my family, and more importantly, to myself that I can manage my diabetes without any medication. So stay tuned. But back to my so basic story of today. We're on the last part of the topic about the mind. We talk about emotions and the brain. So today, let's jump into thoughts. Yes, I left the best for the last. Now that I understand that emotions and feelings are and how they are related to my body, I think thoughts are the captain that drives the ship. Ugh, and it's so hard. At least for me, because I know I have a very volatile mind. My thoughts, they're always there. From very, very complex ones to super silly, waste time, nonsense ones. Check this out. In my so basic research, I found that in 2005, the National Science Foundation stated that the average person has between 12,000 and 60,000 thoughts per day. But the extra shocking part is that 80% of those are negative. Oh, how crazy is that? Here's the thing. Now that I practice awareness, I can see that. A lot of times I do catch those ugly thoughts, but it takes a minute to capture them. Sometimes it's the emotion that I catch first. And oh my gosh, that feeling, it pops up out of nowhere and quickly escalates. So I have to be quick too to call out the spirit and quiet them down. They crawling so fast. I picture them in like in a scene of a horror movie, where the spiders or the bugs are attacking, and the only thing you hear is a little crawling sounds. Ew. Did I just put an image in your head? I know, right? This proves that yes, our minds are very powerful. I love this super basic experiment that Dr. Marian Rojas shares in one of her teachings. She talks about the reticular activating system in our brain. Basically, what that does is to awake the brain to a conscious level, awareness. For example, if you are out and about today, how many red cars have you seen? It is hard to tell, right? And it's very likely that you passed by several already. But because you were not on the lookout for them, your reticular activating system was really not activated. But guess what? From this moment on, and if you're listening while you're out and about, you will start seeing red cars. She uses this example to give a scientific approach to what I strongly believe God has very intentional set our bodies with power. Second Timothy 1:7. For God gave us a spirit not to fear, but of power and love and self control. But like Uncle Ben says in Spider Man, with great power comes great responsibility. And that's how I know it is imperative to pay attention to my thoughts, to be what God wants me to be. A little extra. Otherwise, believe me, I would be super basic. Okay. In her book, Dr. Rojas, on how to make things happen, she shares that 99% of the things that we think are going to happen never really happens. So it is on us, with the guidance of the Holy Spirit, of course, to make them happen. Isn't that crazy? That makes so much sense to me. Faith without works comes to mind, right? This has been helpful to me. I discovered that some of this power is what makes me so basic. Because of my temperament, I tend to be a very positive person, sometimes even naive. I'm also pretty impulsive and reactive. For people like me, it takes a minute or two to really catch on what's real and what's not. For the longest time, I thought that there was absolutely nothing wrong with that, and that I was actually very gifted to have such an imagination and creative mind, until I started working with my therapist. And she showed me how having such a wandering, imaginative, impulsive mind and not taking control of that was doing a terrible disservice to my life. I was living for the project in my head rather than reality, meaning putting lots of imaginary expectations on people and situations that when reality hit, it hit hard on my emotions and understanding others. It was all about me. Thankfully, God is so merciful that I am learning to manage my power. Okay, that was a little extra, but fun to say. I recently read a book by Paola Herrera, a Mexican motivational speaker. The Story You Tell Yourself: How to Tell Yourself a Story of Success. I was pretty skeptical about this book because in her YouTube videos, she sometimes appeared to be a little woohoo, you know, just extra. But I got a pretty good guidance and practical tips to help me, my wandering mind, to focus and, more importantly, get rid of my catastrophic thinking. Yeah, because that is a place I tend to go. Like I said before, it takes a good amount of negativity to take me to the dark side. But once I'm there, I'm there. She talks about how our behavior is influenced by our perspective, the story we tell ourselves. It's fascinating. It's all about perspective. Here's an extra example. During one of my coaching sessions with a client, she was telling me how bad she felt, super guilty, because she lives with her sister and she starts her day super early in the morning while her sister sleeps in. The only time she has to spend in with her sister is in the evenings. Her sister loves watching TV late at night. My client was telling me, I feel terrible because I want to spend time with her, but I'm so tired that I fall asleep in the middle of the TV shows. Then I asked her, has your sister ever said that that bothers her or complain about that? She took a minute and then she said, no, not at all, ever. To what I said, what if she loves that you sit there with her, awake or asleep, just knowing that you are there with her? She started crying. She was, what? Oh my gosh, I made up a story in my head about that. I've been living with this guilt for months. I said, right. She may not even think near what you're thinking, and it's causing you so much stress. So, yes, we tend to take an idea and run with it. What's the story you're telling yourself? We see it in the Bible too. The woman at the well. Here's my basic version of that. She thought she was not worthy of Jesus talking to her. She was not even close. He turned her into one of his biggest missionaries. Paula also shares a story that resonates with me so much. When she was a little girl, she wanted to learn how to swim, but her mom was terrified of water. She would tell her, "No, that is too dangerous. You could drown. No way. There's no way you're going in there." Well, Paola took that fear that wasn't hers and adopted it. She finally learned how to swim as an adult. She got rid of that fear that was not hers. So we even grab the thoughts of others and make them ours. How about that? I feel so basic when I thought more about these things. What thoughts have I created in my mind that came from someone else? Or that I built on my own and stopped me from enjoying life? Or even worse, how many of those negative thoughts of mine have I passed on to my daughters? The extra story here is that we can change it all, change those stories in our heads. There is so much freedom when we do that. It is possible because on Romans 12:2 says, "Do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewal of your mind, that by testing you might discern what is the will of God, what is good and acceptable and perfect." Don't get me wrong, it requires work. That's why it's so worth it. If it wasn't, well, I wouldn't have this episode, right? Renewing your mind is a basic practice, but with a whole lot of extra benefits. And if I can do it, so can you. No doubt that the renewal of your mind will help you to love Jesus, obey Jesus, and tell everyone about him. But how do we tie it all together? For example, how is this connected to managing my diabetes, you might ask? Well, given the examples I just shared, a lot. Applying critical thinking, calming down, and renewing my thoughts with a positive mind have allowed me to achieve daily goals, small daily goals. Have I told you how much I dislike? Okay, maybe even more than that. Kind of hate doing exercise. Having a new mindset has been critical to help me get my daily steps in, drink water, and make better choices when it comes to food. Have you heard about the RAIN method? So basic, yet extra helpful. It is an acronym that stands for R, recognize, A, allow, I, investigate, and N, nurture. Each step of the practice is designed to help you become more aware of your emotions and respond to them with kindness and compassion to renew your mind. I found that this technique that is used in therapy to reduce anxiety, it's also very helpful to keep your thoughts captive and take your time to respond versus react. The extra trick is to have a tool belt. Here is a basic list of the things I have placed in mind to give my mind a break and allow my thinking to reconnect with my body and renew my thoughts. So, my list starts with things to look at, like photos, puzzles, and a book. Things to smell, like a lotion, essential oils, fruit, a candle. Things to taste, like a candy, sugar free, fruit, a favorite drink, and things to touch, a bubble wrap, Play Doh, fidget tools. I also like to get brain breaks by going for a walk, stretching, stomping my feet, things to listen, like a playlist, an audiobook, or a podcast. And the favorite one, breathing ideas, blow bubbles, deep breaths, meditate. I also have a list to reframe my negative mindset. This is what I do. I go from I can't to how do I learn? From I don't know to I'll find out. from it's too hard, from it's a challenge. I am worried that I'll fail, to I am curious about what will happen, from I'm not good at it to I can get better, from I'm not ready to do that to there's no better time than now, from I'm too old to it's never too late. For this last one, I recommend that you have them handy. Print them out. A visual will help you to get to the right place faster. You can copy and paste from the show notes, or you can go to my website, fate52.com, and print out the PDF with these basic tools. So, yes, I hope this basic story gives you a little extra inspiration, extra encouragement, or extra curiosity to evaluate how you manage your thoughts, what is helpful, and what you need to work on to enjoy the riches of life that God has been set before us. Because we are here to live, not to exist, right? By the way, if you want to start making some positive mind changes, it's not too late to join my 30-day mindset challenge. I will place the link in the show notes. With only 5 minutes a day for 30 days, you can create the small changes that can become positive habits to help you reframe your mindset. Visit my Fate52 Facebook page to learn more or click on the link in the show notes. Thank you so much for listening. And if you feel stuck in the mental space you are right now, let's chat. I would love to come alongside and walk with you in a direction of freedom, peace, and productivity in your life. And before I go today, I want to give a shout out to Coach Adam Tinkoff. Visit his YouTube channel, Mindset Mondays, and join his live stream every Monday at 6 p.m. Pacific time. He's amazing. Meet me there in the chat. So fun. Thank you so much for listening. Come back next week when we will jump into the body pillar to become an extraordinary person. See what I did there? Take care, and may the Lord guide your thoughts today and every day.